Fear, an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that something is dangerous, painful, or threatening. Fear is our most primal instinct. It can push us forward or hold us back, shaping every choice we make. From a mild unease at heights to a deep dread of the dark, fear quietly guides behavior. Throughout history, leaders have used it deliberately to influence societies and serve their own goals. As Paulo Coelho observed, if you want to control someone, all you have to do is make them feel afraid. Fear isn't always destructive. In the justice system, the fear of losing freedom can deter crime and maintain order. But where fear can protect, it can also oppress. A truth vividly illustrated in George Orwell's Animal Farm. The revolution begins with Old Major, whose speech mixes hope for a better life with fear of continued suffering under human rule. Every revolution begins with a dream, but most are sustained by fear. Fear of the old regime, fear of chaos if it doesn't change, fear of what might come if it does. In Animal Farm, the animals overthrow their masters with visions of freedom and equality. Yet, it isn't hope that sustains the new order, it's fear. So before diving deeper, I just want to do a little bit of a disclaimer. So this video is not about endorsing or attacking any ideology, groups, or leaders. The video is entirely just to explore how fear has been used throughout history as a mechanism of control, and how Orwell's characters reflect patterns still recognizable in leaders and movements all across the world today. This is not about left or right, or past or present. You can take whatever you get from this video to form your own opinions on it. And at the end of the day, the world is only as you can perceive it. Thank you. Visionary, kind, idealistic, charismatic. All words that describe Snowball. He emerges as the chief architect of the revolution, carrying forward the path Old Major set for both himself and the farm. Orwell portrays Snowball as a natural leader, the hero the animals needed but ultimately did not deserve. Yet, alongside his intelligence, kindness, and charisma lies his most defining flaw. It's being naive. George Orwell's Animal Farm is an allegory of the rise of the Soviet Union, and Snowball mirrors Leon Trotsky. Both embodied revolutionary ideas, both sought to remain faithful to the original vision of change, whether Old Major's dream or Lenin's revolution, and both met the same tragic fate. Snowball envisions a utopian society, where all animals are treated equally, giving thought and credence to needs of every individual. His ideology leads him to build a movement centered on unity against human oppression. 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. This mantra becomes the rallying cry of his movement, aimed at uniting all animals against a common enemy, man. Through his efforts, he establishes the 7 commandments, the laws that will govern all animals. These laws are central to the story, representing the ideology of animalism, the philosophy Snowball helped create. Snowball's vision of a utopian society is rooted in equality and cooperation, but his idealism blinds him to the realities of power. By rallying the animals around the shared ideology, 4 legs good, 2 legs bad, and establishing the 7 commandments as moral law, he creates a unified movement. Yet the structure he builds has no safeguards against those who lust for power. This exposes a central flaw in Snowball's character, going back to naive. His focus on hope and unity leads him to believe that only humans are capable of evil, ignoring the ambitions of those around him. Driven by fear of human oppression, Snowball never weaponizes that fear himself, bound by a misguided sense of universal solidarity. Snowball is not inherently evil. He is the leader the animals deserve, at least in philosophy. Yet his dreams of equality and unity leaves the farm exposed. His failure to recognize ambition and weaponize fear creates a vacuum, a space that someone more ruthless can exploit. This is mirrored in history, particularly with Leon Trotsky. Following Lenin's death in 1924, Trotsky became the prominent voice within his party, only to be exiled and demonized. A victim of the very ambition and cruelty he never fought with, fear. leaving room for greater evils to take his place. Showing that, regardless of good intention, you can only hold power if you are willing to take it. Snowball's refusal to return to the story to fight for what's right allows other ideologies to take root in his camp. Ideologies he knew were misguided or dangerous. Most importantly, he refuses to weaponize the very ideology he helped create and the emotions that fueled it: fear. Control. Losing your job, the end of a relationship, the struggle to make ends meet. These are moments when we crave control, because the fear of the unknowable can feel like the end of the world. Napoleon, powerful, intimidating, commanding, offers the animals that sense of control. When creatures fear for their future, they often cling to someone stronger, hoping their shared ideology will protect them. As John Stuart Mill wrote, people generally attach themselves to the strong, without inquiring whether strength has reason on its side. Unlike Snowball's vision, Napoleon's control does not inspire, it dominates. Napoleon is shown throughout the story to strive for one single goal: control without opposition. The first glimpse of this appears when Snowball attempts to educate the animals to read the commandments. In contrast, Napoleon focuses on indoctrinating the young dogs into his private school, effectively removing them from the rest of the farm. This ensures his authority goes unchallenged, at least for the next several chapters. From the very beginning, Napoleon understood the power of fear better than anyone else. By exploiting Snowball's weaknesses and manipulating the emotions of his supporters, he paved the way for his eventual rise to power. The turning point in Animal Farm comes when Napoleon openly rebels against Snowball, seizing control of the farm through a combination of force and intimidation. Using the young dogs he privately trained, he left Snowball with no choice but to flee and/or face death. Throughout his rise, Napoleon maintained such a level of control that he could influence the animals with virtually no opposition. This strategy mirrors real-world examples, such as the Hitler Youth, where a supreme leader shapes the minds of children to perpetrate an ideology, rather than allowing them to discover it independently. Whether on a personal level, over the population, or through shared ideology, Napoleon leveraged the animals' fears to keep them in line. This is most dramatically seen in Boxer, the loyal workhorse. His personal motto begins with, "I will work harder," a simple creed of diligence, but under Napoleon's influence, it evolves into something else. And that being, if Comrade Napoleon says it, it must be right. The shift captures the complete surrender of individual thought to authoritarian control, making Boxer both a symbol of loyalty and a warning of blind obedience.
광명성 3호 2호기 위성 발사 성공!
Truth, the concept of something known and widely accepted as reality. Truth you see day to day is often just a reflection of what the majority accepts. But what if that truth isn't reality at all? What if it's only what your community agrees to believe? In the 1940s and 50s, smoking cigarettes was a common occurrence worldwide. Medical professionals and companies pushed the message that it was safe, even producing commercials with doctors' endorsements.
More doctors smoke Camels than any other cigarette.
Smoke Camels, the cigarette so many doctors enjoy.
This manufactured truth became widely accepted, not because it was real, but because it was repeated, trusted, and reinforced. Throughout this video, the 7 commandments of Animal Farm have shifted, step by step, towards the truth the animals come to accept. As readers, we can clearly see the tampering with morals and ethics happening right before their eyes. But the animals never question it. Why? Because their truth is not reality. It is the message handed down to them by their leaders, repeated until it becomes unquestionable. This brings us to the vocal point of the video, and the one animal who inspired me to make it, Squealer. Napoleon's right-hand man. While Napoleon is the obvious villain, the figure most readers see as cruel and sadistic is Squealer, who plays the most crucial role in the rise of power. His weapon is not force. His weapon is truth. As Edward Hoffer wrote, propaganda does not deceive people. It merely helps them to deceive themselves. In other words, Squealer's power comes not from forcing lies upon the animals, but from shaping their beliefs so that they accept falsehoods as truth. But truth in Animal Farm is never objective. It is malleable, rewritten, and repeated until it becomes impossible to question. Napoleon may have controlled the animals' bodies, but it was Squealer who controlled their minds. And once he reshaped their reality, resistance was no longer just dangerous, it was unthinkable. The slogans and ideas Squealer pushes, Jones will come back, or do you know the enemy who has come in the night and overthrown our windmill? Snowball. Those are calculated manipulations, all designed to target one central emotion, fear. Fear that the animals would be enslaved again. Fear that another snowball might come undermine their order. Fear of losing not just their home and community, but everything. Squealer exploits this fear to make a simple truth seem absolute. Napoleon is always right, and to disagree is to commit dissent. Napoleon is meant to portray Stalin, but just like in real life, there would have been no Stalin without a Pravda, and no Hitler without a Goebbels. There would have never been a Napoleon without Squealer. Power alone cannot sustain control. It needs a voice to shape perception, rewrite reality, and convince the masses that the ruler is always right. Squealer is that voice, the architect of truth who ensures that fear and obedience work hand in hand. All animals are equal, but some are more equal than others. Through the manipulations of fact and reality, Napoleon and Squealer established order and maintained the power they gained through fear. Truth is no longer objective. It exists only as a story those in control want you to believe. By exploiting the fears and insecurities of their people, they secured power, while the animals grew complacent, all while the greatest lie is the one we stopped questioning.